Hello and welcome to Evansville Podcast. My name is Jason Burton. Thank you for listening. Welcome to the show. For those of you who have heard us on WNIN recently, welcome. It's a little project we have going on where we get a 4-minute segment every Thursday on WNIN. So for those of you who have heard us, keep listening. And those of you who haven't, just tune in 88.3, or you can find them online, wnin.org. And we kind of wanted to reciprocate the goodwill that WNIN has given us. So we are putting out one of their shows on our feed. We're testing it out, see how it goes. There is the Red and Blue Hoops show that happens every Thursday night. It's a call-in show, and you can check it out live on WNIN. But if you happen to miss it, you can catch it on the Evansville Podcast Network by the next day. So yeah, you shouldn't have to do anything different. If you've already subscribed to Evansville Podcast, it should show up. If you haven't, now's a great time to subscribe. If you like iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play Music or anything that you listen to the podcast on outside of the website, we should be available to subscribe to. And if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about and you ever have any questions, please just shoot us an email at evansvillepodcast@gmail.com or fill out the contact information on the website, and we'll get back in touch with you and help you out there. So, speaking of Red Blue Hoops, here's a little promo for it so they can explain a little bit more of what's going on.
Hi everyone, I'm Evan Beck.
And I'm Chad Payton.
We want to welcome the fans of the Evansville Podcast Network to Red Blue Hoops, the WNIN produced show with everything you ever wanted to know about the history and current seasons of IU and UK basketball.
Join us for the live broadcast on 88.3 WNIN FM at 6 p.m. each Thursday through early March, or catch the show on the Evansville Podcast Network later that evening. Please enjoy Red Blue Hoops, and thanks for listening.
Okay, and the music we're playing underneath this right now is by Angel Rhodes, Deja Blue. Thank you, Angel, for allowing us to play this. This is Bumpin' the Road. Check her out on the internets for any touring or music availability. Just check her out at... Sorry, I'm trying to delay so I can look up the website. angelroadsmusic.com. We'll link to that in the show notes. So, today we're talking with health coach Rick Adams. Rick stopped by. It's a good time of the year to talk about health. A lot of people are at least thinking they're going to try to get healthy. This is always the time of the year, right? But we talk about what happens if you've already missed the New Year's resolutions or you've already given that up. Kind of gives a little hope for that. Also, what it's like being a health coach. We talk about when the best time to work out is. And I ask him about what's the most important thing you can do for your health. So, that and more, we get into it. Instead of telling you about it, I'll let you hear it. So, definitely check out some of the other shows on the network. Beyond Repair Show had a friend of Evansville Podcast, Cynthia Murray, on recently, so check that out if you haven't. And there's an upcoming Clockwork Nights podcast in the works as well. So be on the lookout for that. Now, on to my talk with Rick Adams. So Rick, welcome. Thank you for, I know we tried to get like the end of year, but one of us got sick, and that would be me, the non-healthy person.
Oh, sorry.
So thank you for doing this. It's still early in the year. People are still probably sticking to their resolutions. I mean, it's like, 5 days in?
Yeah, they should be.
So they should be okay for a couple more weeks, maybe. But yeah, have you noticed, I know, how long have you been doing the health coaching?
Yeah, so, well, in total, I've been doing it about 3.5 years, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good amount of time then to know, kind of get the feel of what people do throughout the year.
Oh, yeah.
Like, have you noticed like now like a busy time for you, or?
You definitely see trends throughout the year.
Yeah.
When the new year comes, you definitely see people trying to really focus more on their health and
Sure.
kind of improve themselves. And, the New Year's resolution kind of gets a bad,
Right.
Get some flack a little bit, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
But because some people set their New Year's resolutions and they quickly give them up. Some people kind of treat it like it's a wish, like if I could have something, right. And then they don't actually do anything to accomplish it.
Sure.
But I mean, in general, a New Year's resolution isn't like a terrible thing. It actually is. There are some good reasons to do a New Year's resolution for your health, or really just for anything.
Yeah. But I mean, it can be at any time. Like if I miss the boat, like I didn't put any New Year's resolutions, but that doesn't mean I can't start right now, right?
Right. I mean, really, it's just a goal.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of an easy way to kind of say, all right, it's the new year, it's the new me, quote unquote, sometimes you can say, and they just use that as like a marker to start.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So rewinding a little bit.
Sure.
You're in Evansville now.
Yes.
Before you were not in Evansville, but you recently came. You said you came back in a message to me. So were you originally from Evansville?
Yeah.
Okay.
Born and raised.
All right.
Only person in my family from Indiana or the Midwest.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So that makes you the black sheep of the family or the good one? I don't know. One of those two, depending on who you ask.
It's kind of odd. I sometimes kind of flow in between different accents and stuff. They're mostly from the Boston area. So
okay.
Yeah.
So you can flow into that cool Boston accent.
Yeah. Park the car.
Yeah. Nice. All right. I had no idea what you said. No. So so being from, that's interesting. Yeah. Boston. How do you end up being the only one from Indiana then?
Well, the TJ Maxx distribution center.
Okay.
My father worked for TJ Maxx in Framingham, Mass.
Okay.
And then they opened up the one in Evansville and thought, oh, Evansville.
Yeah.
And
why not?
So they came out.
All
and
right.
I was born.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So back from you said you were in Indy.
Yeah, I moved to Indy.
Moved to Indy. Came back. Why would you come back?
Well,
sorry, but
no, that's fine.
And this is not an accusatory conversation. Just curious.
No, so first I went to college at born and raised here. Went to college, USI, and have a degree in nutrition. And I guess really my senior year of college, one of my professors, Dr. Eggleston, great professor that was at USI, kind of introduced me to health coaching. And I thought, what's that? And he started to explain it, and that you can actually work with people and help them with their health goals. But it's not just about knowing health information. A lot of people know about health. It's actually how do they accomplish it. So kind of behavior change.
Okay.
Taking actual steps to meet those goals, and why people don't always meet their goals. Like
right.
Someone could know everything about exercise, but if they have a huge, a busy schedule and have a hard time fitting it in, they don't really have those skills to do that. All the information in the world is not going to help you there. You have to find a way to kind of make a plan for yourself, and how do you progress and kind of meet your goals and things like that. So combining the health knowledge and the actual planning and understanding different factors beyond just regular health that can impact people, that kind of is, the basis of health coaching, I would say.
Okay. So do you find it that, there's a lot of information out there, good and bad.
Yes.
But do you find that it's more of a motivational issue than people know what they should do, but it seems like, for me, I know it's definitely motivation.
It really runs across the board. working with so many people, you might have someone that has that situation I just mentioned, knows what to do, but has a hard time with the scheduling or whatnot. Right. And the next person I talk to doesn't really have a grasp of the basics. They just want to know what foods they should be eating, but they don't really know what that is. Sure. So different things like that, it really does vary. But a lot of people have a general sense of the things they should be doing, which can sometimes be the problem. Let's say someone knows they want to exercise more. Well, what kind of exercise?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. What does that mean?
Right.
And it's kind of fleshing that out sometimes with people.
Yeah.
And when I can, giving, sometimes they have an idea that maybe like they want to do. One thing you see a lot is any area of health, eating, exercise, whatever. They want to do the biggest thing first. Like, I want to lose all this weight right now.
Right.
Or I want to do all this exercise and lift this heavy weight right now. Or totally change my eating habits right now. It's like, wait a minute. That's kind of a way to set yourself up to fail. Or they just want to work on all those different types of areas at once. It's like, let's work on the eating habits maybe first. And when we have some success there, we'll move on to something else and kind of make it a little bit more realistic for them.
Break it down a little.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because you go in and like, I want to lose 100 pounds, run a sub 5 minute mile and all that. It's like,
that'll be our long-term goal. Let's set some short-term goals to get there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have on your website, I saw that you have a blog, an ongoing blog.
Yeah.
Where you talk about different things like this. This is one of the articles, I guess, that I'd read something about similar to what you just said about smaller goals, kind of like, hey, let's lose 5 to 10 pounds this month, and we'll see where we're at after that.
Right. Last week was I tried to do one a week. So last week was about successful New Year's resolutions.
Okay.
And I had one earlier about setting realistic and attainable goals. They're kind of a bit connected there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I try to have like one a week and kind of impart some knowledge that people can kind of take from and whatnot. And before I came here, I was working on one that should be out in a day or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when this is aired, it'll be out, so you go check it.
Oh yeah.
What's something that is like hard for you to do? Because as a coach, people probably think you love working out, you love eating healthy. I mean, what's really hard for you?
Well, first to address that, that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand sometimes is no one loves everything of any subject. Right. So someone might say, like, "Oh, I'm really interested in exercise, and I know a decent deal about it." But I definitely don't like every exercise.
Sure.
If I run more than 2 miles, my legs, I get shin splints and whatnot. And so, but there's other types of cardio exercise I could be doing that I might enjoy more. I know for myself growing up, I loved martial arts. And no matter how tired I was, I loved doing that so much that I always had the motivation to go back and keep doing it.
Yeah.
So if someone loves running or biking, it doesn't matter that they don't like doing something else exercise-wise. They know what they like and they can do that. Right. Yeah. But as far as what was the original question? What do I not like doing?
Yeah. What is it that you don't like? It sounds like running might be on there, but
running. I always tell people when I explain eating healthier foods that you could be eating a lot of different types of foods. Like I very much dislike green beans, but that's fine because there's other stuff that I do like to eat that more vegetables and things like that.
Right.
So everyone has little things that they don't like, but find what you do like. Yeah, focus more on what you can do, what you do like, and do that.
Yeah. So since you came back, how have you found the reception to the health coaching?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Because I think we talked a little before. You mentioned that we were a few years ago. We had that art being the biggest, fattest city, whatever it was, and a lot of strides to get better at that. I believe, and the mayor's spearheaded a lot of things about being healthier. So I think we've made some headway, but
absolutely,
we're not perfect still. But
and I read that downtown they have the bike sharing.
Yeah. That's downtown in Franklin, I believe. How's that? So
this time of year, maybe not the best as far as
probably not a lot of action going on with that, but yeah, set up for spring.
Exactly, kind of putting laying the plans there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of come a long way.
Right.
And I was sitting on my couch in 2011 watching Jay Leno and hear him say Evansville, Indiana.
Yeah.
my ears perk up. It's the biggest city in the country. Like,
It's never good whenever the national people are talking about it.
Yeah, that wasn't too great.
It's never great.
But yeah, a lot of changes have come. Even this last summer, I was at the seventh inning stretch they had at Bossy Field.
I was there too.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
Just kind of, it was free. You could come out. Doing it in a historic ballpark was kind of cool. Lily King was there. That was
cool. Yeah.
It was an awesome opportunity.
It's very warm.
Yeah, and I figured I've actually gotten a little bit more into yoga lately. I did a little free week trial.
Okay,
a little
sure.
ticket I got, and it was really cool to kind of learn some basics, even just at that summer event. It's funny you mentioned things I'm not good at. Mm-hmm. I'm fine at yoga in and of itself, but when I went to that event, I didn't have a yoga mat.
Yeah,
and I saw everyone walking in with the yoga mats, and I thought, oh no.
Yeah, right.
They're going to think I'm so stupid. I can't go in there. And I just had a towel. I'm like, I could probably lay that on the grass.
Right.
And for a minute, I almost didn't go. I parked my car in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. And even as a health coach, I thought, oh no.
Yeah.
They'll think I'm so silly. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to make myself go and do it. And I had a great time.
Yeah.
So.
And they had a lot of, or I don't know if they ran out, but they had yoga mats for, at least our kids took a couple of them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's a big turnout, so I'm not sure if they had those. But yeah, it's good that you said like you force yourself, and it's good to know that even a health coach, person that's actually in shape and is still like has those doubts, because I think a lot of times it's easier to trust people like that. It's like, okay, where I'm coming from. So
sometimes people kind of think, oh, this is not a perfect person, but they have it all together. But that's not real. You have to struggle to meet your goals. And I have to do that just like everyone else does.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how do you keep up on like new trends, and how do you know what, like, it seems like there's something new pops up and we're like, is that right?
Right.
It's like, how do you know what's right? I mean, you mentioned at USI, you had a teacher talking about.
Yeah. I have a degree in food nutrition, and that teacher had Dr. Eggleston. Fantastic, with a yoga instructor, big into health and things like that. So he gave me a great background. But as far as all the new trends coming out and things like that, they're all a little bit different, but a lot of times they're all a little bit the same.
Yeah.
There's a diet that's low on carbs. There's probably, there's a million diets like that.
Right.
That kind of feel the same.
Yeah.
And new diets that come out that have the idea of another diet. Like my sister started doing the Whole30, which is more or less just an elimination diet. Where you you take certain groups out.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard this.
Yeah, and if you have like allergies or stuff like that, it could be a way of kind of figuring out what is causing.
Right.
If you start adding it back in after the 30 days, and you realize, wait a minute, I added this one thing back in, like let's say dairy or whatever it might be, and I started feeling this.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, okay. That's probably what caused that.
But you always wonder, like, because you'll see, hey, we shouldn't eat carbs. Well, now we shouldn't eat fat. Well, now we should eat only fat. And it's like, well, I don't know. But
yeah, it's a little tricky sometimes, especially with all the information coming out.
Yeah,
because even when I go online and I look at, like if I have a session with someone, one of my clients, and they ask, hey, can you give me healthy recipes or good exercises to look at, like something I can save on my computer. Sometimes I just don't go and look and get it and boom, I'm done.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to dig through because not all the stuff I see is very great. And thankfully I have the ability to see, all right, this is not the best, but maybe after a couple minutes, all right, this is a lot better. Let me give them this resource they can use, stuff like that.
So what do you think is more important than, if I was going to choose one thing to do, would it be eating right, or exercise, or sleep?
Ooh, sleep. That's a big one, actually.
Yeah.
Because sleep can start, if you don't have a good sleep routine, that can really mess up everything.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to keep a good exercise routine or good eating habits with your sleep all messed up.
Yeah.
It's almost like it stresses your body. Like if you have a lot of stress and it has negative effects on your health.
Okay, sure.
It can be similar effects by not sleeping enough. So you're physically stressing your body out. now you might, start snacking, and it just kind of unravels. But that's a big one that really throws people off.
Right.
Is just, and then you don't have the energy to work out and things like that, and it really messes you up quite a bit. So that would be kind of a good.
That's a good start.
Go
to bed early tonight.
But and different people are different, so just kind of find what works best for you.
Right.
One basic example of that is when it comes to exercise. Sometimes people ask me, "What is the best time of day to exercise?" Mm-hmm. And there is some research that says, in the morning's a good time and things like that. But one thing I mention to people, well, first it matters what your schedule is. Yeah. If you don't have time in the morning, well, you're not going to be doing it in the morning.
Right.
But some people, they work out in the evening, like myself. They get tired. They, and I go to bed and I feel good. I sleep well. Some people, they work out in the evening, and it wakes them up. They are now not going to bed. Right. And that would, okay, if you're like that, then don't do it in the evening.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just kind of figuring out what's.
No hard and fast rule on any of this, probably, but.
Right.
Yeah. Which is, I guess, why it's important to bring it back to you, like a health coach. I mean, because how do you figure out the person that you're coaching? Yeah,
it's a lot about knowing, where they've been, what they've done before, what they like to do, things like that. And, knowing where they've tried and failed before. And even if we're working together and they try something, they have a hard time with it. Okay, well, that's something that we can learn from and
sure.
rework it to see what's going to work best for you. Mm-hmm. And a big part of my goal that I shoot for, with working someone is not just to give them some good advice or whatnot, but that they can have a healthy lifestyle long term.
Right.
Not give a man a fish, teach a man to fish.
Yeah.
So they can, after they're done with me, have the resources and the knowledge to, hopefully, when they stick to it, do well going forward.
Yeah, because I know I'm like a lot of people where you try the fad diets, and you'll lose a bunch, but then it comes back, and then you'll lose a little bit, and you gain more, and it's like it's not sustainable.
That exactly, it's not sustainable. And a lot of diets, when people mention diets to me, I say, what do all diets have in common? They all end.
Right.
A diet has a start date and an end date.
Yeah.
And in that situation, when it ends, what do you do? Do you go back to what you were doing before? Because if you do, you're just going to end up like you were before. It's, even from like a calories and whatnot, a mathematics standpoint, you're just going to go back to what you were doing. And a lot of times, the body has a reflex, if you will, that if you lose a ton of weight, it kind of says to itself, "Why am I losing so much weight? Is something wrong?" Mm-hmm. And it'll try to hold on to weight or even gain weight back a little bit. So you have those big swings of weight, which you don't really want to have. You want to lose slowly but surely.
Can be healthy.
No, not usually. No.
No, the biggest loser, probably not the greatest.
No, yeah, giving people rewards based on just solely the amount of weight they've lost.
Yeah. Sounds like a great idea.
Not great. No. When people are losing weight, they focus so much on the weight. Mm-hmm. That's just one part of it.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard to get people sometimes to look beyond that, but how are your clothes fitting? Mm-hmm. I talked to one person sometime, we were having a session, and they had more energy, their clothes are fitting better, they felt fantastic, but they were bummed out because they didn't lose as much weight as they wanted to. And I thought, I'm just sitting there like, all this good stuff has happened. Mm-hmm. This is better than most people should expect, in a session-to-session time. But it's just kind of changing that outlook that they had, that it wasn't the only thing. Yeah. Because sometimes your body will lose weight. Sometimes you'll feel better. Sometimes your clothes will fit better. Because your clothes can fit better and not actually lose weight. Your body kind of has weird ways it kind of goes and improves. But as long as you're seeing something, you're moving in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I've learned today is I don't have to run. I don't have to go on a diet, and I just need to go sleep. So this has been a great talk so far.
Exactly.
So say someone is interested in coaching because they haven't been able to crack the code on their own, which is a lot of us. What's the next step? I mean, how do they get a hold of you? And I guess what's that first couple of meetings with you like?
Yeah, I mean, definitely in the beginning, it's kind of understanding where they're coming from, what their goals are. Because if it's something that they don't want to do and I'm trying to really push them, I can make suggestions saying, hey, this might be a better way to do something or whatnot. But if I'm trying to push them into something that they don't want to do, they're not going to do it. As simple as that sounds.
Right.
So kind of hearing what they want to accomplish, what do they want, and kind of working with them to meet those goals, kind of getting their background, see where they've been, what they're interested in, things like that, and exploring that. Then we start moving into more goal setting and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a get to know them, so you can crack the whip in the right way. in my terms.
That's another thing though, because
Yeah.
I think my father may have said years ago, one thing about like a baseball manager, a really good thing that they have to do is they have to motivate their players, but not every person is motivated the same way.
Right.
Some people you just kind of have to be hands off and say, just kind of, flippantly mention something to them that they can use and get better. Some people you got to get in their face and that's what really motivates them.
Yep.
It's just kind of finding out and, through questioning and things like that and kind of getting not like questioning like an interrogation, but just kind of getting to know someone really.
Sure. Yeah.
And seeing what is best for them and how to best, move them along,
Right.
To reach their goals.
Yeah. So we have any freebie tips for anybody, or do they have to
Freebie tips.
gotta wait and pay to play kind of thing for you?
Well, I put out the blog, which has a lot of
That's true.
things in
You
and
do
of
have a lot
itself
in
right there.
Right.
But the biggest thing is if someone's really having a hard time starting, just whatever goal it is, just starting doing it. Find out what you like, what things have worked for you in the past, and start small. Even if you're barely doing anything, you're doing something. If your goal is to go to the gym and do this big goal, how about we just work on getting to the gym and walking on the treadmill for a little bit of time or something?
Yeah.
Because now you're there, you're getting into the routine. Like with the example of exercise or going to the gym, if you want to do that 3 days a week, just getting there 3 days a week is hard sometimes. Like making that part of your schedule and not even really thinking about the actual exercise itself. So once you start getting that down, then you can move up from there.
Right.
You don't have to be perfect from the beginning. You definitely do not. And a lot of people who try to kind of do a lot in the beginning, it doesn't pan out for them long term.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. One non-health question.
Yeah.
Since you've been back, is there something that you wish Evansville had that we don't have right now?
Ooh, wish that they have that they don't have now. Are we talking just anything?
I mean, it can be anything. I can narrow it down if you need a prompt, but
give me some options.
like a lot of people talk about places to shop or restaurants, or there's been a lot of like mostly things that Owensboro has that we don't have.
Well, we got a lot of good places though.
Yeah,
I mean,
we do, and getting better all the time.
a lot of good restaurants. I definitely enjoy being back and being able to eat at some places and
Sure, yeah.
whatnot. So, and in little places that pop up here and there. Being able to go to like an arcade, because we used to have them in Evansville long ago, but now we don't.
Yeah, an arcade
we didn't have them for a long time,
Yeah,
but there's more.
but then we've got the one on First Avenue now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's nice to see
more of the
stuff
games that I played when I was young.
Right. Yeah.
So
NBA Jam. Let's go.
I know. It's like Street Fighter. And
Yeah,
all that.
man.
Oh,
Street
goodness.
Fighter, little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's right.
I'm in.
That's right.
On the arcade games.
But yeah, it's just little fun stuff like that. I mean, I always felt that, sometimes when I was younger, I would hear that, there's not so much to do in Evansville. But like, you have them all. You have movie theaters. You have this and that. You have little places to go and whatnot. So I never really thought, I mean, unless you want a grand museum or something huge like that.
I don't know. But yeah.
Or a big pro sports team. Like I said, I lived in Indianapolis for a while.
Yeah, you had some stuff there. That's for sure.
Yeah, but Evansville's fine.
Yeah, and it's still close.
And it's
enough.
growing.
It's close enough to go to these.
Yes, when you're in a big
sports team, right?
I'll tell you, Evansville kind of spoils you as far as how kind of small it is area-wise. Because if something's happening, like I lived on the northeast side of Indy. If something were happening on the west side of Indy,
Yeah,
I'm not going.
You're not going.
It's like a half hour more away. I'm
Right.
not going to that.
Yeah,
Evansville kind of spoiled me that way.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a perspective thing too. Yeah, a lot of the people won't go from one side of Evansville to the other, but it is what it is.
That's right.
Well, I appreciate you coming by on a snowy day and getting out and braving it and who knows how long we'll have this snow, so it may not make any sense when this airs.
Just be the one day it snows.
It's the one day it snowed you came over, but I do appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for and we'll see. Maybe we can inspire some people to get healthy this year.
Absolutely.
You'll inspire them.
I'll try. I'll put out the blog, and
I'm just going to go take a nap.
Yeah, and if you want to check out the blog, it's rickadamshealth.com. Mm-hmm. Pretty basic website there. And, well, as far as the title goes. And Rick Adams Health Coaching on Facebook. Put the links there and share articles and stuff like that. I always try to give people information and even conversation. If you want to write back to me on there and have a little, what does this mean? What does that mean? You mean more? Absolutely, it'd be more than helpful.
Great. We'll link to all that in the show notes. So
yeah,
cool. Thank you, Rick.
Awesome. No problem. Thank you.
Thanks again to Rick for coming on the show, talking to us about health. We want to thank you for listening, and I want to ask a favor. If you have time, please, especially if you use iTunes or the podcast app on the iPhone, to listen to this podcast, please rate or review us or both, and it really helps us out with getting the word out on the show. So we would appreciate it if you would take a moment to do that. And other than that, hope you guys are having a good 2017 so far. Thanks. Good job, everybody.